Hi everyone, Richard here again from Calvin Wazoo, bringing you another Random Pick Monday, which, if you know the drill, I take my phone, I go to my Discogs app where I have my collection, and that's only part of it. Logged into Discogs, give it a shake, and a random pick comes up. And the last time I did this is what came up. Oscar Peterson Trio, the trio, live from Chicago. Very nice cover that's still in excellent shape. Got a lot of cool liner notes in here about it. Photos of the players. And the players being Oscar Peterson himself on piano, Ray Brown on bass, and then Ed Thigpen on the drums. So, yes, this was recorded live in July, actually July 28th and 29th, 1961. And it was released the same year, and it was recorded in Chicago at the London House Club, which was in downtown Chicago, right on the Chicago River, in a hotel there, which is now called the London House Hotel. It became the London House Hotel in 2016. But the London House Bar for decades, particularly during the 50s and 60s, was very much a hot spot for jazz musicians and live jazz shows. It was home turf for, in a manner of speaking, for many jazz greats like Bill Evans, Errol Garner, Dave Brubeck, and of course, Oscar Peterson played there. In fact, there was a group of albums that were recorded and released during that summer of 1961 there from the London House. And they include this one live from Chicago, The Sound of the Trio, which I do not have that one, and Something Warm, which is another one I do not have, and then Put on a Happy Face, which I also do not have. This is the only one I have from the London House sessions. It was an after-hours club. So in Chicago, there are two types of bars. There are the ones that close at 1 or 2 in the morning, and then there are the after-hours clubs, which will stay open until 4:30. And this was a famous jazz club. And it closed in the early 1970s, mostly because people just weren't listening to jazz like they used to anymore. There are still a few jazz bars in Chicago, but it just isn't the same vibe for jazz as it had been during the 50s and 60s. It still is a very strong town for the blues, except for this year because of COVID-19. There's the Chicago Blues Festival every year, and many famous blues artists, made Chicago their home. And it's also known for a particular genre or subgenre of blues, the Chicago blues. But anyway, it's blues, talking about jazz. So the albums from that session, they were collected, the 4 albums I was talking about, they were collected into a group for a special box set release in 1996, I think it was, but that was only on CD. I did some research because I saw some notes that it was released earlier as 4 LPs, a 4 LP set. But in Discogs, I could not find that box set. The only box sets I could find in Discogs were for CDs. So if there was a set, a 4 album vinyl release of these sessions that occurred at the London House, um, it must be pretty rare and highly collectible. And I would imagine it's going to be pretty expensive. Um, Mine is on the Verve label, but it's a repress. It's not an original from 1961. But the London House Hotel is still there, and it does have a very nice rooftop bar, which perhaps not so much this summer, but on other summers, wonderful place to sit and have a drink and look down the. Actually, you would be looking up the Chicago River at all the architecture along the river. The album itself is really quite nice. Being a live recording, in a nightclub, you can hear the little murmurs from people in the background. But it's not like it was really noisy. People sat quietly for the most part, while listening to the musicians play. It wasn't like you might experience in some places today where you've got artists playing, in a nightclub and everybody's just talking and yelling and nobody's really appreciating the music. It opens up with a Guys and Dolls song called I've Never Been in Love Before. Then it's got a Sinatra tune of In the Wee Small Hours of the Morning. So the album opens up with, pretty upbeat tempo, lots of tinkling, with the piano going on there by Peterson. And then it moves into a very smoother, more solemn, in the Sinatra tune in the wee small hours of the morning. Then the side one finishes with the classic song Chicago. And side two has got in the night we called it a day. Sometimes I'm happy, then whisper not. These are all fairly long songs, 6 to 7 to 8 minutes. But the final track is Billy Boy, which is a very short, sweet song. We get some bass solos from Mr. Brown, and this is what I love about vinyl, because so often this type of information, this type of liner note, is just not available in the CD. And if it is, print's so small I can't read it. So anyway, that's my random pick Monday, Oscar Peterson. If you're unfamiliar with him and you do enjoy classic jazz from the 50s and 60s, you got to give him a listen. He's played with a lot of different people. He has backed a lot of different people, including Sarah Vaughan and others. So you should check it out. Hey, leave your comments in the down under, please. Like the video, subscribe to my channel, leave some comments and talk with me. And especially if you know some other Oscar Peterson releases that you might like and recommend. I do have other releases of Oscar Peterson. I just don't have the other ones that go with the sessions that were at the London House in Chicago. But anyway, sign up, enjoy, and that's the big key right there. Always remember to enjoy your music.